Some games are just way too ambitious. Sure, sometimes that's actually fair enough. I mean, I remember seeing gameplay trailers for Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, as they teased what was going to be included, and I'm pretty sure everybody was the same with their reactions. This, for the time, was unbelievable. And with that ending tag, this video was captured entirely from in-game footage. It actually moved even further into the realm of unbelievable. But at the end of the day, this was Rockstar, the mighty Rockstar, and this was Grand Theft Auto, the mighty Grand Theft Auto. If anyone was going to be able to pull this off, it was these guys, right? Exactly. If the game ends up being even a fraction of what these gameplay videos show, you know you're in for a good time. And as you all know, when it did eventually get released, it got practically nothing but amazing reviews.
It tells a compelling, unpredictable and provocative story without ever letting it get in the way of your own self-directed adventures through San Andreas. It is one of the very best video games ever made.
If you like GTA, you own it already. If you don't, you're missing out on a brilliant gem of a game.
It raises the bar for open-world mission design and has one of the most beautiful, lively, stimulating worlds ever seen in a game.
So yeah, besides the odd complaint which every single game will obviously always get, the hype was real for the lead up to this game's release, and so it should be. The game cost between $137 to $265 million to make, and before you think that's too much, according to reports in 2018, the game had made, by that point, $6 billion, and at its peak it was making $800 million a day. So yeah, with the release of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, where they're still treating this 2-generation old video game as a new game, well, Rockstar know exactly what they're doing. Obviously, the vast majority of that money earned actually ended up coming from the online community, a newer approach for the series, or at least a newer approach at this level. And of course, for everybody that's opened up their browser of choice since 2013 when the game was released, this is obviously not new information. For the time, Grand Theft Auto 5 was completely dominating your video platform of choice. And even today, it's still right at the top of the ranks. Rockstar obviously have pretty much dedicated themselves to releasing update after update after update, so much so that even though the games haven't sold as well as, say, I don't know, Minecraft, it again has actually raked in way more monies because of that online community. It turns out getting your product in front of endless amounts of gamers, and let's be honest, non-gamers, I know plenty of people in the real world that actually bought the next-gen systems for the sole purpose to only play GTA 5, is actually a good thing. Who would have thought, right? Obviously, plenty of games have come and gone before and after this guaranteed hit, with varying levels of success. And today, I plan to relay all of the information that is available on a game that takes all of the best online features of Grand Theft Auto 5 and completely destroys them.
I wanna take you for a ride.
This is the story of Raw, Kickstarter's fake Grand Theft Auto clone. Welcome to Slope's Game Room.
Somewhere out there, far away, someone has built a town. A town where you can live, work, do business, and which can be governed.
What you are looking at is the trailer for the game Raw, an MMORPG game that, for the right people, again completely smashes games like Grand Theft Auto 5 out of the park. And the aim of the game is really down to you. The small town needs people to run the shops that run out of supplies. It has land for you to purchase and build on, not just in the town, but anywhere really on the game. find the best way to earn money, whether that be in the service industry, hospitals, starting up your own factory entirely. Don't forget to build a warehouse too and hire real world workers to work in said factories, produce any kind of goods, and then work with courier companies to deliver those goods, again, other players. Discover oil and open up fueling stations, or just work in the police force and work your way up. Or of course, you could be a bit more GTA typical. Become the mayor and constantly tackle to keep that job, building upon the town by giving other people jobs beneath you, and obviously making sure to actually listen to your residents' needs too before they come fighting for your job. And then of course you've got all of your downtime activities: fishing, shooting, flying, playing with incredible sports cars to discover the stupidly big open world. You can go camping, hunting, the possibilities are endless. And like I said, you can do all of the usual GTA stuff too, which is obviously the big selling point. You can club together to take on the cops, or be the cops and take on the bad guys. Sounds amazing. The good thing about games like this is that practically anybody can enjoy it, but of course, nobody can enjoy it because it never got released. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here, guys. Let's go back to June the 16th of 2019, when this project first got off the ground. The trailer was obviously the big selling point here, and 10 days later, the 70k euro project was funded. That tiny figure continued to rise pretty consistently, even though pretty much everyone that was reporting on it was saying the same thing. How the hell are a tiny team that have never made a game before going to make something that arguably looks more impressive than Grand Theft Auto, which again cost $137 to $265 million initially to make? And these guys only wanted 70k. Plus, when you go back and look at that trailer, there's no real gameplay footage here. Well, that all changed, because if you go back to the 18th of January, you can see a short update claiming that the gameplay demonstration is actually on its way. And according to commenters that were a part of the now destroyed Discord server, that demonstration was coming within a week of the launch of the campaign. And spoiler alert, that demonstration was late. But don't worry, because it did arrive on the 24th of June 2019, along with a whole heap of unanswered questions by concerned fans. So whilst this gameplay footage plays, I will read a few of the answers found in this post. Why the goal is $79,000? You can't do anything with this budget. We had to prepare our campaign in a hurry. We planned to prepare some gameplay but did not have time due to the above reasons. We decided to reduce our goal to 79,000. Of course, we need a lot more than 79,000. The minimal comfortable amount is about 300,000. We said earlier that there will be several fundraising campaigns. Kickstarter is the first stage. After Kickstarter campaign, we will start Indiegogo campaign. By the time we open it, we will have a small community already. This will give us even more confidence, and the Indiegogo campaign should go very well according to our calculations. How are you going to deal with troublemakers on the servers? In fact, this is not a problem. First, the server administrator will be able to give reliable players moderator rights. The moderators will be able to put violators in the blacklist. Do you use open marketplace assets? Of course we use public assets. We're not hiding it. Of course, all public assets will be replaced with custom ones over time. There's plenty more in this post, you can go look at it yourself, but honestly, it's mostly just fluffer. Kinda like how the campaign trailer looked like this, and the gameplay trailer was a lorry driving along a mostly straight road and a car whizzing around a mostly flat terrain. Now, the game looked amazing, and let's be honest, was amazing on paper, but there was still no actual real interactive gameplay proof of any of this ever existing. For those that don't know, all you have here is actually Unity store-bought assets, like they admitted themselves. But what you may not know is that a lot of these Unity assets actually come with everything needed to work. The way the cars car's drive, including the suspension, the sound, everything is literally part of a Unity store-bought asset that are basically plonked onto this flat terrain. I mean, I'm not claiming I could do this, because obviously I can't, but for those people that are in the know, doing this sort of thing is no more than a couple of hours work, and this is all that they're showing off of a game that has been in development for over 2 years. I mean, it's pretty obvious that the longer this campaign went on, it was getting more and more people calling it out as a scam. But still, it didn't matter, because that initial trailer was just so good that every time someone reported on it, even if they were calling it out as a scam, more eyes were on the project and that figure did rise and rise and rise. Of course, this also brought on people that were interested to see just how many asset rips could be found, and boy oh boy, was there a lot. Some of which were not allowed to be used in projects like this. Again, for those that don't know, when buying certain assets like these, they come with certain terms and conditions on how they can be used, and some were not even designed to be used for this type of distribution or gameplay genre. Now, you may be thinking to yourself that this tiny team, of which there are only really 2 developers working on the game, should be allowed to do this. I mean, unlike Rockstar, for instance, that don't have the ability to have dedicated teams working on creating every single little asset available, these guys should be allowed to do it. And depending on your opinion, I suppose you're not wrong. After all, the team are not denying that they are using assets. I'm sure people didn't quite expect it to probably be every little thing that you see in the trailer, but still, at least they are working on the gameplay mechanics themselves, right? Well, actually, it turns out that they are purchase packs too. Here is the pro-military customizational FPS character asset used in the trailer. Anyway, after this gameplay footage trailer, the campaign hit its goal and the small team continued to promise more gameplay footage trailers, but of course we actually got nothing but excuses, and even more promises in their place. As an example of the things they promised, did you know that your shop's location is actually going to play a big part of its overall success? Your car can only park in certain parking spaces. Every single building will serve a purpose and actually be explorable. Every traffic light will operate, water pipes, ventilation systems, switchboards. After purchasing a vehicle, for instance, you need to register it. Get a number plate. Each car will have a key only available for that one car. And of course, over time, the wear and tear of the car will deteriorate, and they planned to make your character's metabolism work individually to that character too. We will make simple mathematical models of all human organs, connect them and make one organ affect the work of another. We will also add infections, various diseases, and an encyclopedia of those diseases. For example, each disease will have its own symptoms and treatments. Some diseases will have common symptoms. Then the work of medics and the overall gameplay will be more interesting. Medics will have to choose treatment options more carefully, and if they are not choose it right, there will be a risk that they will worsen the player's condition. The whole thing is completely nuts, and people are falling for it. Gone are the days of being blown away by the fact that in Shenmue, for example, you need to literally wait for a bus, because that simply wouldn't happen in this game. That is, unless someone's actually got the job role of running the bus. Because in this game, you no doubt need to take a bus driver's CPC course yourself, pass your test. That's if someone's actually taken a job that provides these tests in the first place. Then save the money to buy a bus, start a company with all of the official forms needed to start a company. You need to build the bus depot or hire a building company to do so, hire and train your staff, work out their rotas, get official planning for your bus route, and don't overwork yourselves, because obviously it could cause serious damage to your health. Then, if everything goes to plan, that's when you can finally take Ryu to the arcade. Okay, maybe I went too far. But honestly, I don't think I did. The game is literally impossible to make in this day and age, and that was something that the majority of people covering this story also believed was the case. Heck, if this kind of game did exist, would you want to come home from your real life 9 to 5 to start a new 9 to 5 in this game? It doesn't make sense. Like, for example, what happens when someone breaks the law in this game, which is pretty common in games like this? Does that mean that every time that person logs in, they are just sitting in jail for years? The whole thing is baffling to me, and although I'm sure there are a small niche of people out there that would like to and would probably become addicted to this life inside of a game thing, I mean, it's happened before, obviously never to a game this in depth, and it doesn't matter anyway, because my guess is that it would never work. Not only because it's impossible to make, but also because 95% of the average players out there would just turn it into a massive playground of killing and f***ing everything that you see in the game, which is even more believable if your character has actual bodily organs and customizable features. You get me?
Keep it up.
What I'm trying to say is that this is completely unbelievable, especially from a team of only 2 people, even if they did hit their goal of 300,000 over the several campaigns goal that they had planned originally. But again, it doesn't matter, because when that campaign had less than 24 hours to go, it was abruptly cancelled by Kickstarter themselves. Now, this apparently came completely out of the blue with absolutely no warning to the creators of this campaign. Guys, expect to see our message about the current situation in Discord. Kickstarter closed the project without even trying to figure out what was going on. The gameplay video was almost finished. We will continue the project anyway because a huge amount of the effort has been invested in it. Please don't listen to a bunch of offended by life idiots and their bullshit. Thank you for your support and faith in us. Best regards, Alex from Killer Whale Games. They then went to Discord and explained that even though they were disappointed, they were not broken, and that a new Indiegogo would soon emerge, or possibly even funding on their own website. Regardless, that never happened, and that's a good thing, because when you actually go and try and find these 2 individuals that were working on this game, you soon realise that this game would never see the light of day.
Good shot, kid. I think you got him.
Because these 2 guys were none other than Arthur and Alex. Finding information on these German-based guys that also have ties and are possibly even from Finland and or Russia is pretty hard. You do have a couple of other people too, but one of those guys did nothing but look after the Discord, whilst the other, Daria, looked after the Kickstarter backers themselves. And here's her introduction. Daria, 25 years old, Germany, who is writing right now this post for you and very often answers to your comments and messages. Sorry I don't always answer politely enough, I get sometimes my period. So anyway, back to Alex and Arthur. Alex is pretty easy to dismiss as practically nothing is known about him. He can mostly be found in the comments section of videos, bashing on people that didn't believe him and occasionally on Discord fighting his corner. But Arthur, full name Arthur Hertikainen, has left a tad more of a trail. We don't know exactly who he is. He's very likely one of these people as seen in an old Vimeo account that he owns under the name Square Object, where he basically runs around with his DSLR camera adding filters and basically getting slightly better with his editing, if adding stupid amounts of filters and trap music so it looks like an Instagram showreel is decent editing. You of course can be the judge of that. And yeah, his Instagram is just as Instagrammy too. Thankfully, this wasn't the only place that he uploaded to, as a YouTube channel also exists that not only includes the Kickstarter trailers we've already seen, but a whole heap of incredible machinimas. And for those people out there that don't know, according to Wikipedia, machinimas is the use of real-time computer graphic engines to create a cinematic production. Most often, video games are used to generate the computer animation. And boy, oh boy, say what you want about these individuals, but Arthur is the king at making these things. Now, look, I'm not exactly in the scene, nor do I follow this whole machinima thing, but these Grand Theft Auto made, I'm assuming they're Grand Theft Auto made machinimas, to my untrained eye at least, are pretty incredible. And if you're thinking that if you had these skills, then you could probably make a convincing looking game trailer with tons of off-the-shelf products, sell it as an actual game on Kickstarter, and then just chuck a couple of slightly more impressive off-the-shelf products into a room with it to drive around in or run around in. This is the second gameplay trailer they were talking about, by the way. Not interacting with anything in said world and gain yourself a cushy €200 at the same time, then you would be damn right, because that's all this is. Sure, people will argue the crap out of this, and those people were mostly admins who have been fed the lie in return for a little bit of power in an online messaging app. But even they eventually turned their back on the mysterious developers because nothing was ever shown, besides these two gameplay trailers that again technically served as nothing more than a showreel to some pretty impressive off-the-shelf Unity assets. And that's it. After the Discord was shut down, everything related to Killer Whale Games, as they called themselves, stopped getting updated. The website is now obviously gone too, and even Arta's own personal social medias went completely dead. I'm sure he's still out there, but he's probably, no, scrub that, definitely under a different name. Now, to be fair, there is a slight chance that these two chaps had visions of creating this incredible game like the world has never seen before. But honestly, that's all it was. A cool idea, no different than my 5-year-old son's plan to work at Nintendo when he grows up and create a new Pikmin game with all of these cool new colours. The difference is, he's 5 years old and awesome. And these guys are not. Sure they are, or at least one of them was a talented machinima artist. There's no way we can deny that. But he was a talented machinima artist that almost walked away with close to €200,000 for a product that simply did not exist and will never exist. Heck, the German website pcgames.de got so desperate with finding out who these guys were that they actually drove to the dev's so-called office, which just so happens to be a block of flats, where they got no answer. Personally, if you ask me, this was a scam through and through. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments section below.